Hey, welcome back to another episode of Just Call Me Josie. So this is going to be a complete walkthrough of my cruelty-free makeup collection, and I will split this into several different episodes, so make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the other parts of my makeup collection videos. So here we have my 3 Urban Decay palettes. And this is device number 4, I believe. Don't quote me on that because I use it that seldom, I do not remember. I only bought this entire palette because of this shade right here, and that's pretty much the only warm tone in this palette, so what a great decision. Then we have the Urban Decay and Gwen Stefani collaboration palette. This ended up being a massive disappointment, but I did have it in my Pan That Palette series for 2018, which is why I have loads of pan, even though this is not one of my favorite formulas at all. The last Urban Decay palette I have is the original. If it had more mattes and they had skipped these 2 shades over here, I think I would have gotten a lot more use of it. And this huge thing that is taking up pretty much half of the drawer right here is, of course, a Morphe palette. I definitely think they are super overhyped, to be honest. I will say that the green shades in this palette are really beautiful, though, I will give it that, but super inconvenient with the big size. Since I am a massive lover of warm tones, I have the Modern Renaissance from Anastasia. These are insanely pigmented, which I absolutely love, but they are a little bit messy because of that, and you do get a lot of wasted product each time you dip your brush into, I feel like. But yeah, I definitely enjoy this palette, and the color story is definitely something that is right up my alley. Now this over here is probably my all-time favorite palette, so it's not in the back because I don't like it and use it, it's just because it's so big and bulky. I love the sleeve and I'm not getting rid of it because it actually is just plain black if you remove it, so I prefer this one. I cannot actually remember what I said 1 minute ago, so if I didn't say it, this is the color Raine Queen of Hearts. It has both oranges and purples and even a cranberry and then some neutral mattes to blend out. And the metallic shades in this palette are out of this world. They are so metallic and some of them even have some glitter in them, so they're super impactful on the eyes, and I just absolutely adore the Color Drain formula. So here we have swatches of 2 of the metallic shades in the Color Drain Queen of Hearts. Definitely great quality. Now over in this corner I have my C palettes. Now this bottom one actually has some single blushes as well as a contour powder from Makeup Geek. I have a swatch video up on all of my Makeup Geek matte shades if you want to check it out. This palette has Nabla on the top as well as ColourPop on the bottom. I cannot get them to swatch nicely at all. I cannot seem to get them to stick to my eyelids either. And I hear people raving about these. I don't know what is wrong with my particular shade, so let me show you some swatches. I'm going to swatch them right here next to Color Drain. I mean, I don't understand what this is. I digged my finger into these and this is all of the payout that I'm getting. If you guys have the Nabla shades, do yours swatch this poorly as well, or is it just mine? Did I get bad ones? I have no idea what's going on. I highly recommend you checking out the shade Tea Garden from ColourPop. It is very unique and super beautiful. Let me show you a swatch of that one. It is pretty much a duochrome. And in this bigger one I have some more Makeup Geek mattes, some more Makeup Geek shimmers, some Makeup Geek foil, and 2 little Color Drain singles. So I have to say I've been really into the sort of mini palettes lately. This is one of my faves. This is the LC, the Minimalist Mauve series palette. This one contains 5 matte shades that are sort of mauve tone, everything you need from a really light shade to a deepening up shade. So I think this palette is perfect. Here I have 2 palettes from Milani, and this newer sort of palette layout is so much better in quality than these older palettes. This is, by the way, the Earthy Element. So this is what the Milani Pure Passion looks like. Such a beautiful color story to this one. So this is a great affordable palette in my opinion. Oh, I also have this little homemade palette from ColourPop that has some more ColourPop single shadows. These shades are Lay Low, Paper Tiger, Koi, and Crisscross if you were wondering. I also have the Sassy Sienna's palette from Dose of Colors. This is a super pigmented formula and really intense shades that are all leaning sort of orangey peach. This is one of my all-time favorite palettes as well, and I would definitely be interested in picking up some more of these types of palettes from Dose of Colors. This is the last sort of mini palette I own, and this is the Natasha Denona 5-pan palette in the shade number 8. I didn't really get this shade to stick down very well to my eyelids, whereas the metallic ones performed really great, so I have to play with it some more before I make up my mind whether or not this is worth your money, but I have to obviously swatch this shade for you guys because it is insane. This is a duochrome or rose golden shade. It is absolutely stunning. And then, my friends, we have some of my most used and worn palettes, and these are the ColourPop 12 pan palettes, and I love this layout. I think it is absolutely genius. Now, I will say that they have, since the Yes Please palette, up their quality, so I think the double entendre as well as the Good Sport palette are a little bit better quality, especially when it comes to the shimmer shades, but I still love the color story of the Yes Please. So the Yes Please palette is obviously really similar to the Natasha Denona Sunset palette, and if you cannot afford that one, because who really can, to be honest, this is a great option. Then we have the double entendre, and this is such a great little palette right here. One of the best sort of neutral everyday palettes in my opinion, and the price point is just right. The quality of these shimmers is so good, I have to show you guys, and the mattes are great as well. So there is one of the shades from ColourPop, and I'll put the other one right there. I mean, come on, these are so glossy and sheeny and beautiful. And then the last palette I have from ColourPop is the Good Sport palette, and if I wasn't on a low buy when it comes to ColourPop for this year, then I would definitely have snagged some more of these up. I get super inspired every time I open up this palette and look at this color stories. I think they did an amazing job. So now lastly, moving into this little corner right here, I have my Suiva palettes right here, and I just put up a video showing you my Suiva palette collection and going a little bit more in depth and showing you guys swatches and all of that. So if you want to see these up close, definitely check out that video. But then we have the Nabla Dreamy eyeshadow palette, and Nabla is such a confusing brand to me because this palette is actually great quality and swatches nothing, and I mean nothing, like their single eyeshadows do. It looks like this, and this is also such a fun and a little bit more of a unique color story, so definitely has a place in my collection because it adds something a little bit different, which is what I'm looking for at this point. Yeah, the color payoff of these ones are night and day compared to their singles. It is so weird in my opinion. And then last but most certainly not least, over here in this corner I have my two Juvia's Place palettes. So here we have the Saharan palette, and I know that this is not a lot of people's favorite palettes from Juvia's Place, but I really enjoy this one because it is colorful while still being warm tone, and those palettes are so hard to find. Most colorful palettes are including loads of blues as well as pinks, and those don't really suit me. I like this palette even more though. This is the Juvia's Place Nubian 2 palette. This is also a palette where I get inspired every single time I open it up. That is definitely what you should feel like when you open up an eyeshadow palette. I definitely recommend you check out the Juvia's Place palettes if you haven't already. And if you have, which palette from Juvia's Place is your favorite? Let me know down in the comments.